Okay, so you've got some colors mixed up. You have arranged your still life. You're working probably on an easel so that you can see your palette, your still life, and your painting at the same time. Uh, and so now it's time to sort of start putting this together, right, onto your canvas. So some people like to draw first a little bit and get some idea of what's going on the canvas. And if you do that, that is absolutely fine. I generally don't draw on my painting first. I just draw with paint. And so I'll demonstrate that too. If you are drawing on your canvas first, I recommend this is a 2B pencil. Even if you have an HB, a lighter pencil, that's even better. Use a very light touch. And my advice would be to be general with the shapes and let your hand kind of move through and just sort of feel out where things might be. The nice thing about these designs is that you're really aware of figure-ground relationships or negative space because it's now color. So while this might be something that you see as an object and the figure more than the ground, this is a shape as well. And so you really want to think about those shapes as well as like, okay, this is a thing on top of a piece of paper, or this is a thing on top of a piece of paper, but be aware of these negative shapes that you're seeing in your composition. So also just kind of getting basic proportions so that you can fit everything on your canvas, right? Because if you're like me, everything goes off. I draw everything kind of big and then you're not fitting on your composition. So again, you can start thinking about where's halfway, basic drawing, measuring stuff. There are going to be a number of you who haven't done much drawing, and in that case, I encourage you to really just pay attention to the big shapes as you see them. Keep it loose. Ultimately, this is a color exercise. I'm really not interested in you spending all of your time making sure that the drawing is perfect and then going to the painting. It's a color exercise. Okay, people? So I'm not going to worry about it too much. I don't want you to. Your still life might be a lot less complex than this too. And again, I talked about setting up your still life to accommodate the level of complexity that suits you, right? So definitely do that. Make this something that you're going to learn from rather than be just entirely frustrated. And for those of you who have done a lot of drawing and a certain amount of painting, challenge yourself. Okay, definitely challenge yourself. All right. So I could keep kind of drawing this for a long time, but I like I said, I don't usually do that anyway, but I'm going to put that down. You can do as much as you want. I recommend not going crazy with the drawing part. So you have a bunch of brushes. I kind of don't have the ones you have exactly, but I have some. And I would recommend using a larger brush in the beginning just to put down some basic underpainting. Sometimes I start with a neutral underpainting, meaning a kind of a brownish color so that you're not dealing with stark white. And you can do that with this using one of the neutrals that you mixed up on your palette to do the underdrawing. So that's one way to do it. Another way to do it with something that is bold like this, that has a lot of direct color, is to just kind of do an underpainting with the color that relates to what's there. So I'm going to demonstrate that way for this particular painting, and using kind of big brush areas. I can't really show you my palette the whole time because I don't have the space, but I have this palette here, and I had these greens mixed up, and so I might just add some water. And so this is a point in time when you can go really transparent and know that you're in the family of color that you want it to be. and that you can sort of start to think about that negative space and filling that negative space with the colors that you're seeing, right? So this is, I know this is green, it's not the right green, but it's in the family, and so I'll just start to see where that might be. And because it's transparent and because this is acrylic, the beauty is that it will dry pretty quick and you can paint right over it. And ultimately these are going to be completely opaque paintings, meaning you're not going to see through the paint the way you are here. So this is just sort of a first look at where the composition goes and where the color is. All right. Again, you can fast forward if you like. One of the reasons that I don't want you to get too caught up with the drawing underneath is that sometimes when you're painting the negative space and stuff, you're going to see the composition differently, and you're going to want to make little changes. And sometimes when you draw it out linearly, you aren't going to see it a second time with the color. So like, the shadow might tell you something different about the shape than when you first looked at it with the pencil. Again, negative and positive, aka figure ground relationships, are really important in painting as well as in drawing and design. It's so difficult in the beginning to flip back and forth between seeing negative and positive space. But once you do, then you're composing, and then you're in a different sort of realm of seeing. So do try to see those negative and positive shapes as much as possible. So again, I'm just sketching these in. I might not, go in and put green in too much in where I see it elsewhere, but that's kind of all I really wanted to do with that. And then switching over to, maybe placing in the red. My paint's already drying out because I have this very hot lamp on it. So again, just sketching in that red. Right? With the pink color, you might stay away from adding white to it too much, but definitely water down if you do, so you can get the feeling of that. Again, I don't know how much you'll have in your still life versus my still life. Yours will look different. And so on. So then you'll go in with your, some idea of that neutral, some idea of the neutral black. And I'll pause this here and we'll go on to the next one. I'll mix up a little bit more color.